Hey everybody, Michael Donahue for Riot Monkey Radio. So this episode is a sort of stream of consciousness of just the notes I took while I was watching Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi. I really enjoyed it. Like, I just let myself go and sort of didn't have attachments to what I felt could or should happen. I just went, alright, where are we going this time? And if you go in with an open mind and don't expect A, B, C, and D to happen, I can't imagine you not having a good time unless you don't like the thing that you claim that you do. I gotta start by apologizing for the fractured, odd nature of this particular episode. I had a real issue connecting all of my thoughts, and I just wanted to make sure that I, in fact, put things out on a schedule like I commit to. So, rather than try to lay out excuses, I am throwing up something that's really all over the place, but still something. And yeah, feel free to tell me you love it or you hate it or nothing at all. Anyway, all right, have a listen. Thanks. Spoilers. Spoilers. Giant spoilers for Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi. If you're still listening after all that spoiler nonsense, you get everything that you deserve. I'm just going to hop into my thoughts on Star Wars Episode VIII, The Last Jedi. I rather enjoyed it. I think Luke's line from the trailer, "This is not going to go the way you think it is the best way to sum up the entire film. If you go in expecting something, you're probably going to be very sorely disappointed. And I had some gripes with a few things, but that's neither here nor there. And the experience overall was a very positive one. So I recommend you go see it. I saw it in Dolby Cinema, which again, if you have the opportunity to do so, go out there and check it out. Super short version is that there's like infinity speakers in the theater. So like you walk in and there's lights all over the theater, and it becomes clear if you look at them long enough that what you think are lights are in fact speakers. And there are speakers in your chair. So every explosion, every lightsaber, every vibroblade coming into your face through the screen, all of it. You feel it in your chair. It's amazing. So, opening crawl happens. Good times. I do feel it was a little awkward, the humor right off the bat. I mean, you hear that they're getting annoyed with certain people about the humorous tone in their Star Wars film, and then they open the film with awkward humor. As soon as they opened up into that giant space battle, it was just, I was so happy. It felt kind of like a sea battle. I know it was probably more along the lines of old World War II bombing runs in like classic Hollywood, but I don't know, just the way those bombers were moving, they felt like ships to me, like on the sea. It was I really appreciate that they're spending money. I appreciated the old Hollywood mentality of grandeur and scale, and Disney just throwing all the Disney dollars at it. The cinematography is wonderful. Every performance is like really intensely felt, but nobody really has any dialogue. It just made me very happy. It lets you know right up top that if you see it in one of the premium formats, you're getting what you pay for. Just every explosion, you feel it in your core. It was quite awesome. Oh, the look of annoyance on the giant ship's captain's face as he sees the one lonely bomber that's gonna take his whole ship out is just it was perfect. The lady who's the bomber, she her performance was just, I mean, I have no backstory for who you are. I just know what you're there to do and that it's important. She brought me almost to tears. I was like, come on, it's in the first 5 minutes. Then we cut to exterior. Day. Mountaintop. Luke Skywalker contemplates the lightsaber resting in his human hand as much as the robotic one, as the journey of his life plays across his face in a slow-motion time-lapse. He gets annoyed and silently tosses the useless hunk of metal behind him? What? Immediately throwing out the book of Star Wars in as much as this is like, you think things need to happen A, B, C, and D. And what we're trying to tell you is there's a whole new alphabet being used, and a whole new set of tools. It's I don't know, like where The Force Awakens gave you that jolt of nostalgia, this is preparing you for the growth that is going to come. It's going to change, and some people hate that. Some people are very excited by that. I'm excited by the possibilities. I want to see what's going to happen. Like, I really enjoy how Luke is very Yoda on Dagobah, and he's very ball busty. Literally, as I took that note, I was watching the film, the next thing that happens, the shot of the submerged X-Wing, and I was like, okay, all right, fine, I see how it is. CG is really coming quite far, as well as Snoke looked almost real, man. That Andy Serkis knows how to perform. They've got technology that could really grab his entire essence and communicate that through a digital character. It's okay. Was I the only one that was slightly disturbed by the whatever that thing was that Luke milked? It was distressing. I mean, it was gross. It was real gross, yo. I appreciate the scale of this film more than I can communicate, apparently, because I took several notes about it. But when Luke does that little pole vault spear fishing, I mean, come on. And then, they easily could have had some crazy CG whatever hanging off his shoulder, but they built a practical giant fish thing. I mean, it was, this is how they need to spend money on movies, like making awesome things real. Yeah, was it? Everyone is from somewhere. I'm from Jakku. Okay, that is pretty much nowhere. Skywalker's got space jokes, yo. Hey, look at this. Kylo Ben can fly when he comes in his little ship. It's well impressive. Yeah, the space battles in this are just taken to the level that you want a space battle to be. It's so perfectly Star Wars. Okay, so let's talk about it. Leia, that explosion behind her, and then she gets sucked out into space. Like, that was harsh. That was real harsh. And then they get all close in on her, and she starts to freeze like Star-Lord does in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And I'm like, seriously, you're gonna make us watch her slowly freeze to death? This is really uncool. And then she starts to fly through space? I mean, okay, there's precedent in the lore. She's force sensitive. I get it, but that specific thing felt really weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It didn't feel right. When Chewie is chilling on the planet where Luke is, and he's got what we have to assume is a rotisserie porg, and the porgs come around and just look at him so sad, like, why? Why would you do this? And Chewie ain't having it. He's gonna have his dinner. And then there's the one porg that sticks around and just gives him the saddest eyes on the planet. And it's annoying but cute. I accepted it. I giggled a little bit, and yeah, I really wish they would have used Chewie like way more, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. And then we get one lonely R2-D2 scene, and it is a great R2-D2 scene, and it is one of the highlights of the entire film. He's so excited. He's like a little excited puppy. When Luke's like, slow down, watch your language. Oh man, it's got enough old school classic Star Wars feel peppered throughout what is also a very contemporary sci-fi film to me. I don't know. It feels very, I don't know. I really dig it. So when R2 put up the help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope, right before Luke said it, I felt my brain. I was like, all right, it's cheap, but I'll accept it. And then Luke flat out says it's a cheap trick. I'm like, really? All right. All right, so I'll include a picture or two of my notes that I take while I'm watching the movie, because I try not to look away from the screen. And even if I do, like, it's dark on my lap or those little tables that they have now at the AMCs. And it's hard to read and see if I'm writing things properly. And sometimes I get notes that are on top of other notes, and I think I've written a word, and what has come out is a squiggly line shaped like the longest, weirdest old school skate and destroy uh, rail that just goes nowhere. Maybe somebody can help me out on this one. I've got a jumbled note, something about Yamta and a fish rhino. I don't know. Next time I see the film, maybe. So they do pepper a little bit of characters from the Force Awakens. Like you heard, or I heard that when Force Awakens did what it did financially, and the reactions from the fans, that they expanded characters that they weren't necessarily going to carry over into roles within the Last Jedi. So sometimes you get little bits like Maz, and she's not really in the movie. Like they call her on space Skype, and she's in the middle of a battle, which is really cool. I don't know. I dug the style of it. Like it was funny. I enjoyed the scene, but it was a little bizarre. Also, we find out she's not just into Chewbacca. She likes the fellas quite a bit, apparently. So, yeah, it's good times. When Kylo and Rey are going back and forth. It's strangely flirtatious, as I'm certain it's supposed to be. All I can think is like, why are they so connected? What's going on here? And I really appreciated that, they didn't, like, I totally thought we were going to have to wait until episode 9 to figure out what was going on. But then it turns out Snoke's pulling strings. Like, I was cool with that. I was cool with that. I think maybe my favorite non-main part of the film is the little fish nuns that take care of the Jedi planet. Like, oh, because they're like anthropomorphic fish nuns. The way they act, the way they walk, the way they talk to each other, the way they're annoyed at everything. Like, they're straight up nuns. Dude, come on. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. Okay, so in full disclosure, in the name of being completely honest, one of the notes I took was even Disney dollars can't fix some rotoscope. When Rey and Luke were training on the rocks, there was like this gorgeous, well, I guess digital matte painting, because every now and then there's something about the smaller video being cut into a matte painting that results in, there's a graininess to the footage that's been layered into the painting that isn't present in other shots of the film, so it stands out to my eyes. When they got to Vegas, I appreciated the little Max Rebo-esque tunes going on. Like, that was cool. That little thing that tries to use BB-8 as a slot machine, I think that creature was just super tiny and fuzzy and hilariously drunk. And they even pay it off a little later because BB-8 saves the day by essentially firing a gun, and you realize the ammo he's using are all the chips that were put into him. He blows on the little appendage like it's a smoking gun. Like, it was, yeah, alright. BB-8's awesome. When Finn and Rose let the cat, horse, deer, foxes out of their pens, and there was the stampede, there was this, like, one lady who was in the middle of the stampede. She was in the middle of what appeared to be the racetrack for some reason. I don't know what was going on there. But as she run, they run by her, and she's like, a fat opera lady, but she was literally all boobs. I swear to you. It was like she had two giant boobs, and then the rest of her body was just a jumble of boobs. I can't tell you how incredibly happy I got when Yoda showed up and he was a puppet. It was incredible. That being said, they did seem to use some colloquialisms that haven't been used in the Star Wars universe up until this point. Like, a big point of contention, like, I physically reacted a little bit when Yoda said, a page turner they are not. I was like, really? Okay. I don't know. But I couldn't tell you how happy I was that they used a physical puppet and that it was designed to look exactly like Yoda when he decided he was done. Kylo Ben and Rey versus the Vibroblade gang may have been my favorite part of the movie. I also really appreciate that they actually used Vibroblades, because those are something from the extended universe that when me and my buddies used to play the Star Wars role-playing game back in college, yes, that was something I did. We always be like, come on, these things are so cool. Why don't they ever use them in any of the movies? I also love that Hab Snoke is just laying there in half the entire time. So at first I went, Hoth! And then, no, it just looks like Hoth, and it's Salt Hoth. Okay. I even thought it was Hoth to the point, like, when I first saw the crystal foxes, I thought they were ice foxes, but no, they're crystal foxes. So, when Kylo, Ben, and Hux are in one of those giant walkers, and Kylo's screaming orders, and then Hux just chimes in with the exact same thing. The look of disgust on Adam Driver's face was priceless. I found it really interesting that they went with the astral projection Jedi thing. That was really cool. It also sort of explained because he showed up and you're like, oh, he looks a little different. Like, I guess he just cleaned up. And it's like, no, like, he looks different. Like, he looks younger, he looks a little more fit, and, yeah. And then I appreciated that, you know, like, that is what expended his energy to the point where he couldn't go on anymore. He just lets himself go into the Force, but he gets that twin sunset, you know, just, like, so reminiscent of Tatooine. Just happens to be on the planet that he's on right now, and just that peaceful. I am at peace. This is the way this needs to happen. I thought it was very fitting. I liked it. So this film comes to a close. We fade back in on the group of kids that almost called Space Vegas Popo on Finn and Rose, and they're telling the story of Star Wars in a very campfire way with little figures that they've made from hay. And the one kid shows his rebel insignia to his buddies, and as he walks over to, you know, the open barn area, the door, and there's this gorgeous scene, this nightscape in front of him, and there's this really subtle touch of he just kind of force pulls a broom to himself, but not like across the room, just like 6 inches. And I loved that touch. I loved it so much. Just that the thing that you love that was pretty one track, like we got introduced to characters here, there, everywhere, you know, whatever. But they kind of came in and out of a core story. And this film seems to be letting everybody know that there is a universe here, and we are going to be telling stories from all over it. And I really like that. Like, it is very much a saga film, but it's also like, hey people, non-saga is coming, and it's gonna be great. So I'm really excited by the possibilities. I enjoyed the film quite a bit, and at some point, maybe I will, after it comes out on physical media, I'll give it a rewatch, and I can, delve a little deeper and a little less rambling like. And there you have it, folks. The rambling nature of a super nerd. So, next week, come on back, and I'll be giving some short teasers of my next full episode. This has been Michael Donahue for Riot Monkey Radio. Take care.